already started the show.
Let's go. That's fine.
So we are live now. Okay, great. Okay. Okay. All right. You can introduce yourself. It's your show and you can just take it away.
Okay, so yes, my name is Kwabena and Marie. I'm a Ghanaian, an African. I live in Ghana. I actually train as an engineer, first degree engineering, second degree engineering. I'm an entrepreneur. We have done a bit of projects in construction and engineering. We have retail shops in the malls in Ghana. We are into fashion retail. And with my wife, actually, Marie. And we have development companies. We did all this right from Ghana, from zero. And some of the journeys that we have gone through, I think that we can share with a lot of our people, both home and both abroad. So thank you. And I've watched you several of your videos.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I'm like highly honored. Yeah. And thank you for the books that you sent. Thank you very much. Yeah. Just in case you guys don't know, he is an author as well. Yeah. What is the name of your book?
That's Perspective, how to develop a mindset to start and build your business, how to start to build your business.
Okay. So what are we talking about today? What are we going to
All right. We are talking about how we can survive, how to survive as diasporans coming to Africa, coming to Ghana.
Or the mind. I think you had mentioned something regarding like the mindset. That's
mindset. How to develop the mindset to survive here. The mindset.
I want to know what your thoughts are first. I have some thoughts on it, but I want to know how you feel about it, being that you are from the land.
Yes.
How do you feel about, how do you feel about a diaspora and what you think that they should know about the continent before coming here, and the type of mindset that they may want to consider prior to coming?
Okay. A lot of the times when we talk to diasporans, those, whether they were born here, they moved, or they were born entirely there, transgenerationally, a lot of times they have this Western approach, which means that they think that if you're here, you have to come to their level in terms of everything, in terms of technology, in terms of business, in terms of even culture. A lot of Africans think that if you're here, it means that you are not exposed. You don't know much about life. So when they come to Ghana or to Africa, is it that they want to connect with the very low, or the app? As a matter of fact, the app, whether they are here or they have traveled, they also think like the experience. So they live a world apart from all of us. Okay, so to connect, you need a lot of surgery on yourself, to understand that these are my people. This is what they have been through. They are trying, they have survived, they have a lot of victories, they have a lot of failures as well. Our education system is not different from a lot of the education that we have had. Our advantage is the culture, the family setting, the marriage setting, the things that we grew up, which when you take it to another level, it meets the Western setting. And that's where sometimes it crumbles. What I mean by that is when you meet a white man and you're from Ghana, you are never used to somebody thinking that you're black, therefore you're not intelligent. Only when you meet somebody outside the continent, or you meet somebody who has been brought up in Western culture, who will link your skin to your level of intelligence. So that becomes, I remember when I was going to school in Europe, I was shocked that somebody would think that you are less intelligent because of your skin. It was something strange to me. So that setting to raise that knowledge based on what you have, the stability, the foundation that we have in Ghana or in Africa, to that level to deal with this setting, to deal with this thinking that I know I'm not inferior, I know I'm not less. Somebody thinks I'm less because of his miseducation on me. And that's where sometimes something like Pan-African education, history is so much important, because when we were going through school in Ghana, they taught us about the tradition, the culture, and everything, but they didn't teach us about what the West think of us. And the systems and institutions that they have built to make us continue to struggle as we so
wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you're giving me a broader understanding as to those who are possibly born on the continent, and then they go abroad and they develop some sort of ideology of, I'm better than you. When they come back, you need to get to my level.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So from my perspective, okay, as a diaspora who was born out in the West, and wants to come back this way, we have a different type of issue happening, where we don't understand the continental Africans and what they've gone through to achieve, or if they've been able to achieve what they wanted, So you have the dynamic of the so-called educated one who leaves. And then we have those that may not be as educated, but are still worthy, those who may not have been educated, but those who have also been educated here. So the perspective that I'm looking at, oh my God, they're so diverse, but I see why there's a need for more communication now. Because I'm like, oh my God, okay. So not only do we have this problem of white supremacy, we have a problem when we come back. How are people, immersing themselves within the cultures with whatever level that you're coming with, and to still show respect for those who were already here and have been educated using the Ghanaian educational system or wherever, And so I think that is extremely important to understand that those who have been educated on the continent are not only not only are they educated, but more qualified than those who might have gone to the West. I've seen it for myself. So I totally get what you're saying. It's a matter of perspective, So how do we help our diasporas to understand the significance of what is it called, eating locally, and with regards to those who have been educated on the grounds?
I think that we should understand that the kind of education, the kind of race education that they have given us,
education.
Yes, race education that they have given us is largely it's false. It's false. It's not true. The kind of religious education that they have given us is also largely false. And these two institutions they use to subjugate us to a large extent. If you look at how education was introduced to us recently, they say it's the education, which is questionable because we were living. So how can you say that you came to educate us? The fact that I don't speak your language does not mean I'm not educated, So let's say when they started to put them in class and they started to recondition them, they started to use the religion, the Bible largely. Way before that, Islam had come and had destroyed a lot before the Europeans came, Now, this kind of education was not taught us. You have to do it yourself before you even think of coming here, or before you even think of reconnecting again. You have to know that there's a whole bunch of education that you have to do yourself to study this for the last 300 years, 400 years, 1,000 years, 2,000 years. You need that strength because it's like the root. If you have not gone through deep, any wind will blow you. That's why when you come, you will see all the poverty. You see all the tribalism. You see all the politicians who are not truthful because you don't have the structure. You don't understand it. A lot of our people just, like the whole building is not good and you just fix it the door. And you think that once you fix the door and you paint it, everything will be right. It's largely not so. So I'm very much comfortable with Africans, whether they are African American or Jamaicans or live in England. Once they have corrected this part of history, it's so refreshing dealing with them. Once you connect with that. So for me, that is the main thing. It goes beyond the religion. It goes beyond the school education. It goes beyond profession. The fact that the person has taken time to study it intentionally, you will stop to ask a lot of these questions that Africans and both everywhere ask, because now you have constructive understanding of the real issues of Africa. So the history is for me the first key. Correction. Then when you come, you can understand the culture. You can understand the people. Then you start to believe in yourself. You start to believe in the continent. You become giant. Without the history, anything can move you. And not the one that the white people are teaching you.
Okay. So what you're pointing out is the root of, your position and your geographical location when it comes to Africa. Excuse me. So no matter where you're coming from and where you've been educated, you're saying that there's a lack of history with regards to who we truly are prior to colonialization, okay?
Yes.
And who we were, the identity that was there prior to the education, the business structure, because everything that we are today is a result of European ideology.
Yeah. Yes. And
So,
largely.
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I mean, earlier before we went live, you were talking about like even in business,
Yeah.
like there's this disconnect there as far as like people not even like giving themselves the glory or knowing how to eloquently display what steps it took to get to where they are, but they'll give it to God or they'll give it to Allah, you know, versus
Yes.
like, actually these are the steps that I took to get to this point. You know, like we become so discombobulated and only focus on, you know, like European ideas, like everything about us is just something that is not authentic. It's not coming from the root of who we truly are. How will we get back to that place, even as a diaspora who has, you know, a background of possible European mixture, you know, but I focus mainly on the African lineage because that's where I'm drawn. You know, I'm not drawn anywhere else. So, you know, I feel the intensity of African thought. Like I'm interested in that. I'm interested in the root. How do we get to that place? You know, what do you think is missing for this?
Okay. So what is missing is, I said, is the education. Is the race education is the and so we all have to, you know, there are key writers. There was this preacher in America. His name is Frederick Casey Price. He lives in California. He did a series on race, religion, and racism. Okay. And I had a chance on listening to those series. And I got to know that there was so much I didn't know. Even though I was coming from the land of Nkrumah, Pan-Africanism, all these guys. What may sometimes shock all of us is that the science education that we had, you know, when you were in school, they had these black engineers. I never thought I should ever join it. I didn't see the wisdom in it. For me, that was a mistake. I should have. Because I thought that once I get to all the engineering principles, I'll be fine. And that was not true. You know, so when I got to see that somebody had done these studies, and I started to pick a lot of books to read. I've read a lot. Molefi Asante, I read his book. Some other guys from Senegal. I've read a lot of books on these guys. Different perspective. Because that's where we get to deal with. Somebody will ask you, if you were that intelligent, how did they overcome us? Why are you talking about racism when we have tribalism all over? The problem of Africa is the leaders. They are corrupt. You know? They look at China. China is somewhere, Africa is not developing. When we ask all these questions, it means that we have not studied the subject. And that is so true. Anybody who starts to ask all these questions, and that's why when they come here doing business, they are not able to manage any people because you've got to work with the people. So, for instance, we have work there. We don't even go to the shops, but it's the same our people who are working there. What did we do? We have a training manual. We break things down. We don't just teach them about the sales, about the product. We teach them about what we are going through, the conditioning that they have to gain for them to work with us. When they are working with an Indian, the response is different because there is that color there. When they're working with Chinese, the response is different. When they're working with an European person, but when they're working with your kind, there's also a way they respond. You know? So you have to break it down, teach them. Then you are scared that maybe they will run away, they will not be truthful. You can correct that in the teaching when you break it down. And that means you come through the religion as well. So when the person is good, you take the ownership to say that, yes, I've learned this. It's not just by the grace of God. No, I've learned this. These are the things that are applied. That's why it's working. And it does not mean that you are taking something from, you know, because the way the religion was introduced is that just wait for God to come and free you. You know, it's keeping you in chains. He's giving you the Bible. He's telling you to forgive him. And he's stealing everything that you have, raping your woman, and still telling you that forgive me. Because he gave you the Bible. You know, but he didn't teach you the other side of the Bible. It shows that you must treat a human being as your kind, you know, as you said. So our current understanding of religion is largely coming from the Europeans, and they have never respected this. That's a fact. And the state don't respect us. Look at the world. Look at the billionaires. I'm always amazed why people think that racism is not. Well, look at the billionaires. Who are the guys on the billionaires? Who are they? How many look like me? So that's a threat. When it comes to money and power, that's how they have structured it. Because sometimes when you sit back, you think that the Africans are not. Well, it's not true. Because we are not.
Wow, I feel as though you should be on my channel right now. Like we should be discussing this live on my channel. Seriously, because you have a level of expertise that, I've considered within myself, like, okay, things have to change, but how can you go against such a grain when, like you said, the politicians and the leaders may not be as upright as we need them to be, and sometimes I feel that maybe they're lacking